What a beautiful spring day. And as we walk together through these verses, these sentence structures got a little more complicated when we got to the Apostle Paul. John in the Gospel, Luke in Acts were very straightforward. The Apostle Paul's sentence structure is a little bit more complicated, and so every once in a while we're going to have a large section that's really just one sentence. So it is today. We're looking at the same idea, carrying on with where Paul says, what is the outcome then, brothers? When you assemble, each one has a psalm, has a teaching, has a revelation, has a tongue, has an interpretation. Let all things be done for building up. If anyone speaks in a tongue, it should be by two or at the most three, and each in turn. And one must interpret. But if there is, if there is no interpreter, he must keep silent in the church meeting and let him speak to himself and to God. Apparently, there were some pretty chaotic, confusing assemblies. When these believers would get together in Corinth, they'd be all talking over each other. One would be saying what they thought was important while someone else was saying what they thought was important. Speaking in tongues, prophesying, which is forth-telling the word. And Paul's saying, hey, everything needs to be done in order with the intent of building up the church, not showing off your gifts. And that's really where he's going. And today we have the same issue with some gatherings. But on the other hand, it seems as if we may have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. I think it's interesting that Paul did not say, each one of you should sit still and listen to one or two people during the whole gathering. He said, when you gather together, each one of you brings something. Like that's a good thing. In our church gatherings, traditionally, maybe the music leader, whoever leads the communion thought, that meditation time, and the preacher. Those are the only three people that really bring anything to the gathering. But in the Corinthian church, as in many other churches, I'm convinced, everybody brought something. The problem here in Corinth was there was no discipline, there was no organization. It was just chaos and confusion. So today I want to encourage you to think about our church gatherings. Here at Lake Area, I love what we do on the fifth Sunday. And we get about 4 of those every year. But the fifth Sundays are open mic Sundays, where anybody and everybody that has something for the good of the church gets to share. But it's one at a time. And there's no speaking in tongues where no one can interpret. There's not been any doctrinal issue. That's all usually my concern. Somebody going to say something that we need to fix without hurting anybody's feelings. So I want to encourage you with the idea that when you gather with the church, whether it's in the more formal worship setting or in the entryway or in the hallway, bring something with you on Sunday morning to share with someone else or to share with the whole church. Bring something with you to share in a conversation or to share to the whole assembly. But plan to bring something with you. We've fallen into a tradition in many of our churches where I don't plan to bring anything. I plan to get something. So let's deal with that. Work through the week to read scripture, to watch what God is doing, and bring a word of encouragement, a word of comfort, a word of instruction to the church family. You might share it with just one person in a conversation, or you might share it with the whole church. But bring something so that someone else can be built up. God bless you. He loves you. And we love you too.